Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to this special rebroadcast of where we're going to be introducing the new PTR. That's our Primo Trend Reversal trading tool. Now, we gave this presentation last week, and we had such an outpouring of people that wanted to see it again and wanted more information that we're rebroadcasting this because we're going to be starting the introductory classes very soon, and people were interested in seeing exactly how the PTR works. For example, let's take a look at this chart. And this is why a lot of traders have difficulty trying to find out when a trend is about to reverse. Many traders would see this up move and say, well, it looks like we have a bearish engulfing pattern. It looks like the trend is having trouble. It's most likely going to go down. And then it goes back up. And that's where you're left thinking, well, I guess we're still in an uptrend. Well, the PTR actually generated a signal right here saying that the trend was about to change. And look what happened to the stock. Stock fell 60 points in the next 4 days. Here's another example of how this works as well. As we're looking at our weekly chart of ISRG, Intuitive Surgical, we see here that perhaps you were following this on a weekly basis, and maybe you go to that chat room and someone says, this is far too overbought. It's about time for this to pull back. So maybe you try to sell, and then look what happens. Now it goes lower. You have a little profit of 60 points. But at this point, the PTR would have generated a buy signal right here where you thought it was going much lower, and potentially you could have captured 170 points. Now this chart is updated until this past week. And on this bar here was the last week of ISRG in July. And we see here that the PTR has generated a sell signal. So that's just something to watch here going forward. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, introducing our brand new trend reversal tool, the PTR. And at this point, you can only view the PTR on our platform, the PTS Primo charting platform that actually auto-identifies these trend reversals on your chart. So welcome to this educational presentation. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. That's where we get the name Specialist Trading. A specialist is someone who makes markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So I made markets during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. So in my 47 years of trading experience, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't work. And the PTR is an extremely consistent trading tool to tell you when a trend is just about to change. Now, when we say consistent, I know a lot of traders think, well, gosh, that means it's correct, 99% of the time. That's not what consistency means. Consistency means that there is an awareness that every once in a while, the signal may be faulty or may be getting in a little too early or a little bit too late. That's okay, because a consistent method is one that's able to recoup that small loss, let's say you had, with a trend change, and get back on track. And I'll show you that in a few of the examples today, how maybe it gave a small faulty signal, but the very next signal would have easily recouped what you lost on the first one. So this is what we mean by when we say the PTR is extremely, extremely consistent. Now, before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results, some updated results using the PTR today, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are an educational company first and foremost, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you'd like to get more education, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. You can get free education on a daily basis. Every day I post 5 to 7 different snapshots of signals that our methods have generated, some by the PTR, some by other methods we have. So there's lots of great free education on a daily basis. Follow us on Twitter. Also, we are now live streaming all of our presentations on YouTube. So if you'd rather watch us via YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. You'll see a lot more of us, and you'll have much more information about presentations and different things to come up in the future at Specialist Trading. Okay, so let's begin. Now we're going to rebroadcast a few of the snapshots we shared last week, but we've also got some new ones because a lot of students, prospective students, said, well, Steve, I had some questions, and they sent us in emails or phoned up the tech support and said, can you have Steve answer these in the ongoing presentation? So we're going to be covering that as well. But let's start out by looking at some snapshots that we showed you before. And let's start out with the PTR highlights, the highlights of this particular technique, or I should say tool. It's our most dynamic new trading tool. And the reason why it's the most dynamic is because it's designed to identify reversal bars. We don't have anything like this at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. Now, we have other methods that do tell you when a trend is changing, but they're not as dynamic. They don't pinpoint the price as well as the PTR. That's why it has amazing pinpoint accuracy. It oftentimes will pinpoint the exact low to tell you when a trend change is going now to the upside, or the exact high when a trend is changing to the downside. Now, you can apply it to any market and any time frame. We know we have a lot of students with us already who like to trade multiple markets, like crypto, like forex, like stocks. Well, you don't have to change anything just because you're changing markets or time frames. You keep the same PTR rules and ways in which to trade it. And there are numerous ways to apply and to trade it. There's conservative, there's aggressive, there's ways to filter out trades, and we'll show you some of those examples going on in today's presentation. Okay, so let's show you some examples, and let's start out once again with what we looked at last week. Here's an example now in BIIB, Biogen. And this is why we say most traders fail when they're trying to figure out when a trend is just about to change. Because they'll look at this and they'll say, well, we're going down low enough. All my indicators are oversold, so it's time to buy. So let's say maybe you jump in and buy and it goes lower, right? And you're saying to yourself, wow, okay, now I've got a huge loss, but wait a minute. It looks like we've made some type of support level here. Maybe that guy in that chat room says there's major Fibonacci support. So you've got to buy now, right? So maybe you buy and look what happens. It goes even lower, right? This is the beauty of the PTR. This is what we say when it has this amazing pinpoint accuracy, because many times we've seen it picks the exact low to tell you when a trend change is about to happen. For example, the PTR didn't generate a trend change signal till right here. And look what happened. The market went up 40 points after that, okay? Let's look at AMD, another example here. And the stock was going straight up at the beginning of the year. A lot of people would say, well, it's gone up too high. There's major resistance here, so you decide to sell. And for a little while, it looked pretty good, right? For 3 or 4 days, it looked like it was going lower. And then if you held on to your position, well, you would have lost money, because look what happened. A month later, it's making brand new highs. And so the PTR didn't generate a signal until right here when it said most likely the trend is changing to the downside. This was in March, and it's been coming down 65 points potentially you could have captured. Here's another example on CDW, okay? The stock is going straight up. At this very bar, the PTR generated a trend change sell signal. And look what happened. You could have potentially captured 18 points. Even though we had this little bounce here, it didn't change the trend signal. It was still saying that the market is going lower, which it did. Now, at this point, at the very lows, the PTR generated a buy signal saying that the trend was going to change to the upside. And this was just a few weeks ago, and the stock went up 23 points in 1 week. So we're talking about basically 30 or 40 points you could have potentially captured just using these two signals. Here's another example in CDNS, all right? Someone would say, well, Steve, this looks like a reversal right here. I don't need the PTR. We should sell because that guy on TV says you should get out of the stock. Well, went down for maybe a week or so, but what happens if you had sold or gone short? Making brand new highs a couple of weeks later. Just about a month ago, the PTR said there was a trend change on this bar. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, this is just a reversal bar. So is that all the PTR is? No, the PTR is not based on any patterns. It's not based on any overbought, oversold type of tools or indicators. It's based on an indicator and how it views itself. In other words, its relationship to itself. It's looking back at the past and seeing how it's reacting in certain situations. That's why it'll wait oftentimes for a setup to be generated, such as right here. And look what happened. The stock fell 60 points coming into last week. Or a lot of traders would say, well, Steve, I know this is based on, technical analysis and downtrend lines and uptrend lines, right? So all you have to do is look at this downtrend, and all you have to do is buy it once it broke above here, right? Well, if you had done that, how well would that worked? The PTR waited till this bar right here to generate any type of trend changing signal. And look what happened. The stock went up 30 points coming into the second week of July. This is what we mean by when we say it's got pinpoint accuracy. Okay, now Dash, way back in April, generated the PTR generated a trend change sell signal right here. And look what happened. 38 points to the downside coming into just a few weeks ago. So pick the exact top, and these are happening all over the place, all right? They're not guaranteed that every signal is going to be the exact top at the exact low, but we'll show you ways in which to still trade it when it generates setups like that. Now, see, these are some of the questions that some of the students asked us last week, and they emailed into the offices asking if we could show examples of this. And so one of them said, Steve, can you show PTR performance in other markets? So I guess we focus too much on the stock market. So let's look at some other markets, okay? Here's an example in the Canadian dollar. And this just happened just a few weeks ago. The Canadian dollar had been going much lower and lower. The PTR generated a trend change setup right here, saying that the trend change was going to the upside. And look what happened, 250 pips coming into last week. Now, if you had held on, or still holding on, roughly it's about $2,500 per unit that you could have potentially captured. Or we could look at a 4-hour chart of the dollar yen. All right, this was in mid-July of this month. On a 4-hour chart, 2 sell signals were generated right here. Nothing really happened until all of a sudden in the next week, the dollar yen fell out of bed. 400 pips or $4,000 per unit that you potentially may have captured. Another market, if you like to trade ETFs, well, here's a 10-minute chart of the QQQs. Now we have a total of 4 signals generated here on a 10-minute chart. This was just a few weeks ago, okay? Now, the sell signal would have worked out nicely. This buy signal wouldn't have. Had you bought, look what would have happened. You would have lost money and been stopped out. But this buy signal worked out, and this sell signal worked out. So this is what we mean by consistency. Not every setup is going to work perfectly, but a consistent method is one who's able to recoup those losses, oftentimes on the very next setup. And this is where is a perfect example how even on a 10-minute chart, the PTR is extremely consistent. Now, here's still we're looking at ETFs. This is an ETF, a monthly chart of the Russell 2000. This is the ETF that takes in 2,000 of the most prominent stocks and has a really broad overview of the markets. Now, looking at this on a monthly chart, if you're an investor, well, we're going back nearly 2 years. And at the end of 2022, a buy signal was generated, meaning that the PTR was saying on a monthly time frame, the Russell 2000 looks like the trend is now going to go higher after it had been going down for nearly a year. And we've been going up. This is the exact uptrend it had been talking about for the past year and a half or so. And we can look at gold. Here's the ETF for gold, GLD. All right, this just happened a couple of weeks ago. A trend change was generated by the PTR in mid-July. And look what happened. In just a little over a week, the ETF for gold fell a little over 5% in just about 5 or 6 days. Or crypto traders, all right? One of the most prominent cryptos is Solana. That's the symbol SOLUSD. All right, let's look at a daily chart here of a crypto, Solana, going all the way back to April or a little before that into March. Look at all the signals that the PTR generated. Now, obviously, the first 2 signals worked out well. There's a total of 6 signals altogether. This buy signal worked out well. The sell signal did not work out well at all. You most likely would have been stopped out. But look at the next sell signal, you got back in, worked out well. And then the buy signal worked out well. So this is, once again, a perfect example of what we mean by consistent. Not every setup is going to be 100% perfect, but a consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses. So we've shown you a number of markets, not just stocks. We showed you ETFs. We showed you futures, or I should say crypto. We showed you intraday currency pair trading. Now, a next question was, can you apply the PTR to smaller time frames? Well, sure. We know we have a lot of intraday traders. So let's look at a 15-minute chart of Tesla. Now, this just happened this past week. This was on the 22nd, last Monday. Right? A sell signal was generated on a 15-minute time frame. All right, if you're an intraday trader, look what happened here. The stock fell 35 points in just 2 days. So this is a great, it was picking that top area tremendously, how you could have taken advantage of that. Remember, all this is done on a PTS Primo charting platform with one click. There's nothing you have to figure out. The only thing you have to know is how to apply it to the way you want to trade. And we share this with you and go into detail how to trade this in our free class. This is coming up to all subscribers once you join the PTR, and it's going up very soon. Here's an intraday chart of the Australian dollar, a 1-hour chart. Now, this was a buy signal that was generated mid-July. Obviously, it didn't do very well because look what happened. It went up for a little bit and then rolled over and went straight down. The good news is, if you had the PTR connected on the platform, it would have shown you that a sell signal was generated. So you could have gone out in your long and held on to that, potentially capturing 22 or 220 pips, close to $2,200 potentially you could have gained. And look what happened at the very bottom. You could have gotten out using that buy signal and gone long the Australian dollar on a 1-hour chart because the PTR generated a buy signal. Or what about a 10-minute chart of the spiders? This is the ETF that represents the S&P 500. Okay, this just happened on the 25th, which was last Thursday, not even a week ago. The market was going lower on a 10-minute time frame. Right here, the PTR said there's a trend change to the upside. Most likely you should be buying. And look what happened. It went up 8 points, which signified hundreds of points in the Dow Jones Industrial. Okay, so 8 points you could have made. And then look what happened here. At the very top on this bar, the PTR said, well, now we are generating a trend change to the downside. This is what we're identifying. And it went down 7 points. So potentially, you could have captured upwards of 15 points in one day just using the PTR, trading a 10-minute chart of the spider. So you see, it can be applied to small time frames as well. Makes no difference. And here's a weekly time frame just to go out. All right, it's a weekly time frame in Tesla. We see here that we had a buy signal generated going all the way back to 2022, followed by a sell signal here in mid-2022. And look what the market did. Went straight down. And you could have potentially captured just hundreds of points on the way down. Another sell signal was generated here. So even on this large rally, it still was generating a sell signal until right here, which was in April of this year, it said to go long. So this is a current chart of a weekly chart of Tesla telling you what the PTR is saying. So far, it has not generated a trend change to the downside on a weekly time frame. Now, let's go back a little bit in time. We're looking at the spiders again, but here's a weekly chart. So each one of these bars represents a week, and we're looking at the ETF that represents the S&P 500. We had a really nice upward rally going on here. But if you look at the time and you look at the date coming down here, this was January 2020, all right, 4 years ago. This was just a few months before terrible news was about to hit about the pandemic. But look what happened before that news came out, before the world was really that aware of it. The PTR generated a sell signal saying that it identified a trend change well in advance of the market falling out of bed. And then we all know what happened to the market after that, right? Okay. Now, we all know that the market quickly bounced after really crashing to the bottom. But look what happened after that. A buy signal was generated in March of 2020 on a weekly time frame, and the spiders on a weekly time frame went straight up after that, and they've continued to go higher and higher. So this is going back in time, showing you how simple it would be to apply the PTR. Now we go to another question. Steve, is there a way to filter out bad PTR signals? Well, there's no way to filter out all the bad signals in any methodology, in any technique, in any tool, but we have a really good way to at least take out some of the signals that aren't working very well. And we'll show you exactly, can't divulge what that is here, but we'll show you exactly how to do that in the class that is coming up in the next few weeks here. For example, here's a chart in Textron. By the way, a little bit of information here. This is one of the charts, one of the stocks I used to make a market in on my floor experience days when I was a specialist. Now we see we have 4 trend changing signals by the PTR. The first 2 were buys and they worked out very well. The only ones that didn't work out well were the sells, right? So obviously we wouldn't want to be thinking, well, the market's going lower, because it didn't. It continued to go higher. Well, with the tool I'm going to be sharing with you in the class, it would have filtered out these sell signals, and you would only have taking care of the buy setups, telling you the trend change was to the upside. Also, here's another example in UPS, all right? Two signals generated here. One was a buy and one was a sell, telling you that the market is trending higher. This one saying the market is trending lower. The only trouble is we really didn't trend that much higher. So had you seen the sell signal, you could have used that to get out, but pretty much you stayed in here tying up your money on a faulty signal. With this filter, it would not have had you in the buy at all, and you would have sidestepped it and only traded the sell signal, which was the valid one, and also which was the prosperous one. Let's look at a 10-minute chart of Microsoft. Now, this just happened a few weeks ago, mid-July. All right, we see here that we had three signals. Now, the sells worked out very well, extremely well. The only one that didn't work out that well was the buy signal. It really wasn't a trend change to the upside. It just kind of went a little sideways to a little bit higher, okay? Well, the filter we'll be teaching you in the class actually kept you out of that. You would not have been in the buy signal at all, and you would have saved yourself tying up money. You only would have been short or figuring out the sell side and done very well on that 10-minute chart of Microsoft. So all this and more, much more, will be covered in detail in the live PTR class. So if you decide to become a student in the PTR course, you will be privy to joining me in this live PTR class only for members of the PTR course, and you can speak to me and talk to me live via internet, and we can go over questions, anything you want to know about trading, and I'll share with you my secrets on how to actually trade the PTR to its utmost ability. Okay, so let's review what we shared with you today. The PTR is our most dynamic new trending tool and trading tool because it is designed to identify when the trend is just about to reverse, and it does it with amazing pinpoint accuracy. I just showed you a number of examples. There were recent examples that were really, really amazing ways in which to generate when the trend was about to reverse. You can apply it to any market, any time frame, so it makes absolutely no difference if you only trade currency pairs, if you trade crypto, if you just trade stocks, futures, E-minis, makes no difference, okay? There are numerous ways, and I really mean numerous ways to trade and apply the PTR, and I'll go over them all in detail in the upcoming live class. So, for taking time out of your day today and for watching this brief presentation, we have a great offer for you today, a great discount. It's our pre-launch offer for the PTR tool. This is our new trend reversal tool, an entirely new indicator that we haven't used before. It's much more dynamic and much more sensitive than any other tool we have in telling you when a trend is about to change. It's a non-traditional indicator-based method. Now, it's a proprietary method. The rules and the formula is kept in-house. Trust me, you wouldn't want to be trying to calculate the formula, but we teach you how to trade it. That's really the secret of the PTR. Once again, you can apply to any market, apply to any time frame. I will teach you how to trade it aggressively as well as conservatively. It has exact bar pinpoint accuracy on many of the signals. One thing we did not cover, if you're an option trader, this is ideal for option trading. Why? Because if it's going to be a really good signal that a trend is about to change, well, guess what? You're getting in either at the bottom or at the top. So that's when the premiums are the least cost, they were the least expensive. So this is ideal for option trading if you're the type of trader that likes to get in with really low cost option trading. Now, everything you saw today was displayed with one-click access on the PTS Primo charting platform. You'll only find the PTR on the PTS Primo charting platform. So for that reason alone, we're going to offer you, if you become a student of ours, full year, 12 months of the platform absolutely free. Okay, I developed this and designed it with Pro Trader Strategies to make trading simple. And you'll see how simple it is with one-click access. You'll see where all these trend-changing signals are, okay? But you're not just going to get the PTR on the platform. This comes with dozens, if not multi-dozens more of different tools, indicators, strategies, techniques that you can use as well with your full year membership to the platform. Okay, things like the buy-sell line indicator that will tell you the overall trend in just a matter of seconds. Our strength of trend feature, which tells you if the trend is running out of steam or not. A signal scanner where you can scan for nightly PTR signals for setups. Automatic exit levels, where you can use this one exiting technique to get you out of a PTR signal with a profit, okay? And over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators. This all comes with personalized tech support. If for any reason you can't figure out how something works or you don't understand what this is on the platform, our tech support will be there in a matter of moments to help you and explain everything for you, okay? Now, we've showed you a number of amazing examples using the PTR that just happened within the last month or so, some within the last week. If you're still undecided, let's look at one of the most popular stocks trading today, and that is Nvidia, okay? Here's a current chart. In fact, this chart was coming into yesterday. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner, you see that was on the close on the 30th, okay? Obviously, this has been in a downtrend. This has been going lower. Let's say you were long this stock, or let's say somebody told you somewhere around here that you've got to buy this for your portfolio. It's going to go straight up to the moon, and you bought it, and now you're holding it with a major loss, and you're saying to yourself, why did I do that? If you had the PTR, this is one of the ways you could use it as an exiting tool or just to keep you out of the market until you get a buy signal. Because look at right here at the very top, the PTR, if you clicked it on our platform, would have showed you that it was generating a trend change. This was on the 20th of June. So therefore, let's say that one of your stockbrokers or that guy in that chat room said you have to buy Nvidia. Well, knowing this information with the PTR, you would have said, you know what, I think I'm going to stand back for a while and hold off. Or maybe you were lucky enough to be long already and you had a nice profit. Well, one of the ways you could have traded this is as an exiting tool, where you could just say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to get out of maybe partially some of my shares or maybe everything altogether and just wait. Or lastly, if you're a buyer only, you could say to yourself, well, I'm going to wait till I get a trend change signal using the PTR. So this is the beauty of this. This just happened within the last month, and you could have saved yourself a good 20, 30 points being long Nvidia had you known about the PTR. So if you're a reversal trader, if you like to get in at the exact high to go short or the exact low to buy, well, then you have to take advantage of this. Take your trading to the next level with the new PTR. This is the Primo Trend Reversal Trading Tool, and this is what we're really going to take your trading to the next level with, because as I said, we've never had such a dynamic trending tool before as we have with the PTR. Okay, so let's break it down. Let's talk about the deal we have for you today. Now, what we're going to be doing once this session is over and once we start going live in the next few weeks, the PTR will sell roughly close to $5,000. But our pre-launch discount, we're not going to offer it for $49.95. We'll discount it 10%. You'll get the pre-launch discount of $44.95. And on top of that, if $44.95 is still too expensive, that's okay. You don't have to come up with $44.95. You can put down a fraction of that, a small little deposit, and you can still be up and running. So we're going to be offering payment plans available for a limited time with a small deposit, establish a payment plan, and you can still be in the first initial class, the live class, and you can still have the full year of the platform. Okay, so either way you decide to go, you want to pay in full with the discount, the 10% discount, you save $500, $44.95, or if you want to have a payment plan, only put down a small amount and establish a payment plan, you're still going to get a full year free of the platform. This is a great offer. If you want to do this later, roughly in about a month or two after we've made the PTR official, it'll probably cost you close to $7,000 for the same thing you're getting, okay? So this is a great pre-launch discount. Be one of the first to trade with a PTR. No one is trading with this other than myself. I was trading with it this morning. The private classes begin in 3 weeks. So you want to be a part of those private live classes. We're keeping them to a minimum. We don't want them to be the way initially when we started out teaching and trading, we had hundreds of people in our courses. We want to keep them to a small, intimate number so that you can ask questions and there's plenty of time for us to take our time and look over all the examples, okay? So be one of the first to trade with a PTR. The private class begins in 3 weeks. You'll get all the study materials. You'll also get your platform to look at the signals on the platform, and our tech support will set everything up for you. All right, so here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, which is Pro Trader Strategies. You see right here. I would give them a call, even if you just want a quote. You don't have to purchase anything today at 310-598-66 They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be happy to give you a quote or answer any other question you have about the platform or any other method we have. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page as well as a sign up. You can sign up there as well. It's not a live link, but they've just posted a live link in the chat box. So if you go to the chat box, just click that on and you'll see the live link right there, okay? I promised I would reserve the last portion of this presentation for any questions you may have. So if you do have questions, just go to the chat box, type them in, or the question and answer. It makes no difference, and I'd be happy to answer them. I see we have one question here. Someone is asking, does the PTR repaint? Okay, very good question. Just to describe, for those of you who don't know what repaint means, a number of indicators that you'll find on other platforms, they edit themselves. In other words, they'll change their signal. So in other words, they may generate a buy signal here or an up arrow. And then when things change, well, that up arrow disappears and then they wait and refilter it and put it somewhere else. That's called repainting. The PTR does not repaint. And you just saw a few examples I shared with you that they were faulty setups. They wouldn't have worked out well. That's because they don't repaint. Those are signals that are right there. The good news is that when those faulty signals do appear, and they will appear from time to time, I will share with you in the class, in the private class, ways in which to edit them out, ways in which to have a filter so that you won't take those setups. And that's one of the ways in which we can sidestep those faulty setups, okay? So we do not repaint any of our signals. Everything is the same and it stays there, okay? You'll, even if it's a winner or a loser, you'll see them on your screen. You can go back and study, okay? Someone's asking, how much is a payment plan? Well, that's something you decide with Pro Trader Strategies. I assume everyone's different. They're in charge of all the discounts, all the payments, and the tech support. So once again, there's absolutely no obligation. I would give them a call, 310-598-6677. They're there to work with you. They can give you a quote. You can think about it. But like I said, if you think about it too long, the price for getting a full year of the platform along with the course will roughly cost you close to $7,000. And on top of that, you'll miss the live classes. So you want to take advantage of this if you're really serious about trading with this trend reversal tool. It's a really great tool. I just showed you a number of examples in all markets, all time frames, and you really can't beat it with this. And I'll be there with you every step of the way. That's the next question. The next question is someone saying that, what if I have trouble finding out how to trade it? Don't worry, as I just said, I'll be there with you every step of the way. Every student of mine gets my private personal email address. You can contact me with questions about the PTR anytime you like, how to trade it, how to apply it. Maybe there's a method that you don't really understand that I taught in the class and the course that you'd like me to go over with you personally. I will do that, and I'll answer you prior to the opening, after the close, during the market hours. I'll even answer emails on the weekend. So it makes no difference. It's the next best thing, I always say, to having me sit right there next to you. So we have great tech support. If you have issues with the platform, you can always contact them whenever you like. And also, we have great mentoring with me, myself personally. I will be there with you every step of the way to help you trade the PTR, okay? Any other questions? Good questions. Someone's asking, when does the class start? It starts actually in 3 weeks. Let me see the date here. I think we have it tentatively planned for the 23rd of August, which is a Friday, okay, the third Friday in August. If we close it up quicker than that, it may be even a week prior to that. So right now we're looking at the third week in August, but it may even be better than that, okay? So, and these, and how long do they last? Classes are anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. So on average, we like to say they're 2 hours long. And when we used to have them, there were multiple classes that went anywhere from 2 to 4 hours long. There was just too much information because there were too many people asking questions. So we want to keep it to a smaller class and then have it more intimate that way. And that way you can ask questions and we can go into detail rather than have everything answered quickly because we have to go on to the next 50 questions because we have too many people in the class. So that will start tentatively on the 23rd. We may even do it earlier than that. Classes are most likely on Friday because at the end of the week, we like to go over everything so that you can study everything on the weekend, okay? But we'll also be open to changing anything. If we have a number of students who say, Steve, I'd rather have it on this day, or Steve, I'd rather have it on this time, that's fine. We're willing to change as long as the majority of people, it works with everyone. Because we have students in Europe, we have students in Canada, we have students in South America, as well as the United States. We'd like to fit everyone in the same time zone if we can, okay? Good questions. Any more? Remember, this is going on for the next week or so. After that, most likely prices will head up to closer to 7,000. So if you're interested at all, don't worry, there's no obligation. Contact Pro Trader Strategies for a quote, 310-598-6677. They're there to work with you. There's no obligation, and they're very flexible with pricing, okay? Okay, as we close up here and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for attending. I hope you got as excited as I do by seeing how well the PTR works. But really, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTR course, and I can teach you exactly how to trade it. Thank you so much for attending. I wish you all the best of luck in trading and hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.